We'll do it once again, right? Great. So once again, I'm really excited to say hello to everybody and welcome you to the second episode of LU Leipzig Student Room. Today, the episode is devoted to everything related to computing, computer science, IT, software engineering, technology, and robotics, and of course, studying those disciplines at Lancaster University, Leipzig. My name is Camila Chavas, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Recruitment here at LU Leipzig. And I'm joined today by our wonderful students who will tell you a lot about their experience on campus. So,
hi, I'm Nelly. I'm from Russia, but I lived my high school year in Cyprus. I'm studying at the final third year of computer science at bachelor's.
I'm Matthias. I'm from Peru. I'm also studying computer science and I'm in my second year.
Hi, I'm Paricha. I'm a second year computer science bachelor student. I'm from Abu Dhabi.
Hello, I'm Isabel and I'm from Spain and studying software engineering third year.
great, perfect, thank you. We will start with why did you decide to study, computer science and software engineering among all these other majors? So, Nelly, if you could start with this.
As I said in the previous recording, I was choosing between a number of topics that I really enjoyed, like chemical engineering or computer science. But I decided to go with computer science since I really like the program and also the location and sort of this everything about Lancaster. It kind of came in the perfect storm, so I decided, to go with that.
Yeah, well, I've always been interested in technology, and same as Nelly, I was kind of in the middle between biotech and computer science. Of course, I ended up going for computer science at the end, but I think we're living in a really interesting era of human history, and I think we're very lucky to have the opportunity to see how technology will revolutionize our lives as we know it. So I am really looking forward to work alongside fellow researchers to come up with these very interesting ideas.
Great, thank you, Paricha.
So I studied in a British curriculum school, and I had to early on start to think of what to do. And slowly, all of the options didn't interest me. Everything, like I was good in all of the subjects, like geography, history, but then I think practical use was only computer science, pretty much.
And you, Isabel?
For me, I've always really liked everything related with technology and computers and everything. And in high school, I didn't really have the chance to actually study it. So I saw this degree here and I thought it was really interesting and I really wanted to learn more. So I just went for it.
Okay, so we have a true IT computing enthusiast here on the course. Great. Lancaster University Leipzig is quite a unique, option for students. It's a branch campus of one of the best British universities, set up in Germany. Going back to 2019. I just wanted to know, why did you decide to go for this particular institution, having, of course, so many other great options in Europe? Maybe Matthias is start first.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool that we can get an English degree here in Germany, especially Leipzig. I don't know if you've heard about it, but there's a lot of tech opportunities for students here in Leipzig. So I did some research, and when I found out about how easy it is to get a job once you graduate here, I was instantly convinced.
Mm-hmm. Nelly?
Well, I was initially gunning for studying in the UK, and then Brexit happened, so all of my plans got messed with. So I was also looking into institutions that I can go to. I was considering German universities, but then I would have to learn a lot of German in a really short amount of time. And then it just so happened that I've came across Lancaster in Leipzig, and it was convincing. The education was, as in the UK university, the prices for me, as you know, I was paying like local prices like in the EU, so it was great. Yeah, I was convinced as well.
Because what we have to also mention to people that don't know, we teach in English, right? We are British university, so we don't teach in German, and also German is not required when you actually apply, right? But we do teach German, and we really encourage students to learn the language. However, everything is in English, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And what about you?
It was simply a choice between Germany and UK. And it was simply that I had to look for English university because I didn't want to learn German and then learn it to the point where I'm studying a degree in it. And it pretty much happened that there were very limited options for German public universities here. And my parents said that, oh, Germany is a technological hub. Why don't you try researching and find something there? And then this was the only university that popped up on my radar. And another thing to mention would be that like Leipzig is like one of the most rapidly growing cities in Europe now. They're saying it might be a technological hub in future.
Did you know, by the way, that Leipzig is ranked 5th in Europe for quality of life, according to the latest report of the European High Commission? Pretty cool thing, right? But I think we can relate to this one. It's a really, really cool place to live in. Okay, what about you, Isabel?
For me, it's a little bit like Nelly. I also wanted to go to the UK at the beginning, but because of Brexit, it was just so expensive for me, so I couldn't. And I knew like as a university from before because my sister went. She didn't have Brexit, so she couldn't go there. And I thought that Germany that it had a campus in Leipzig, so I was like, yeah, it's the best opportunity. It's actually a degree in English is in Germany, which is a really strong country. So I just thought it was the best option.
Great, great. Definitely strong motivations, to join our campus. Okay, now going into the more practical aspect of the conversation. The computing field is not the easiest. Let's be honest. It requires very strong skills, technical skills, and from feedback from students is not the easiest walk in the park, right? It's quite tough. So, what are your highlights of the program? Right, that you study. What do you like? What do you find challenging? For example, but maybe let's start with the things actually. What is really, really good for you? What you like most about the program studying in Leipzig? Maybe we can start with you.
I like the practical aspect because every module has its own purpose, and the skills I've acquired in the 2 years I've been here are something that I didn't think I didn't have before. It was all pretty new. Like I only knew like just Python, and I came here and I learned like Java, HTML, CSS. It was something like that I'm proud to have now.
Great. Matthias?
Well, in more general terms, I really like this program because, well, believe it or not, having a smaller institution might be beneficial for you in some cases, right? Just because lectures are smaller, so you get to really get close to the lectures and engage frequently while these are going on. Now, like talking about computer science in specific, I think the order in which they teach us things and the way they introduce new topics really blends in well together once you look at the broader perspective of things. So I mean, I didn't have much experience coming in with computer science just because my high school didn't provide any modules on it. So I think it was pretty smooth, and I really appreciate that.
So what you are saying is that if you don't necessarily have really, really strong background from your school, from high school, you will have a chance to really get, a lot of new skills and knowledge, and you mentioned different programs. So students who have, let's say, who have the passion, right, and interest in some skills, they will definitely be able to learn a lot, right?
Yeah, for sure. And coming from a different perspective, I did take a module on computer science with GCSEs. If I was in a British school, I realized that, and like I've had background in some mathematics, and all of that, like first half of the first year, everything was covered again. So for me, it was kind of like, oh, when does this get interesting? But like, it was important for people who, didn't have those opportunities, in their schools. And I didn't understand much of my GCSEs regardless. So it was good to like not breeze over the topics and like know keywords, but actually, understand them in depth. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, for me, I didn't know anything when I came. Like in high school, I didn't really do any programming or was other topics. So actually, I was scared of coming here because it was like I don't know anything. I don't know if I'm going to be really lost, but it's not the case. We do at the beginning the basic stuff, so it's all you could say kind of revision for other people, and you don't feel left out. Like you,
Yeah.
I'm doing good now. Like I really catch up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, great. You mentioned the benefit of having a bit smaller class. That's something that I think we also need to mention, right? It's not a typical, I would say, setup where you have students, I don't know, 50, 70, 100 in a class. It's maximum 20, right? Students. So, is this in your opinion, in this particular subject, a good thing that you have so much more attention? One thing for sure, students cannot be unnoticed, right? Your lectures
Yeah.
will know you, right? In the
Exactly.
class over the years. So do you see it as a good thing?
Yeah, I actually really love it because everything is a lot closer. The professors know you, so if you have any question, it's really easy to ask them. They're always willing to help you, and it just makes classes a lot easier, and you also know your classmates a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that it is definitely better, when you have kind of like one-on-one, as close to one-on-one as you can have in the university. But also bigger classes are not necessarily, worse because you have more people to interact with. Like I find especially that, like when you were discussing topics, and for now, like I'm revising, for example, it's really interesting to discuss things with people and like how they understand topics, and it would also not be too bad when you have a lot of people that chances are, a fraction of them understood one thing, then another thing, and you can share your experiences and exchange. But there are trade-offs.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. We have a lot of students, applying, actually asking us questions like, can you tell us a little bit more about computer versus software, right? Computer science. A lot of students, I think, sometimes don't really understand the difference, and there are big differences, right? If you were to explain, to a student, in a most simple, digestible way, right? What is the difference? And so a student could easily decide, right? Computer science or software engineering. Who would like to
All right.
take this one?
I think we can split it up into two answers, right? So you have kind of like the theoretical part of it, like how is computer science different as a module with software engineering, and then you have like the practical side of it, of how you're gonna experience it here at Lancaster University Leipzig, right? So maybe I can start with the practical side of it, right? So I mean, if you go for computer science, just expect to work a little bit more on your own, because you're gonna have for example, in the third year, you have your final year project, which you will be taking care of all by yourself. Whereas in software engineering, you'll be working in groups, because it's really important for engineers to have these soft skills to work in big groups of programmers and developers. And yeah, what about how do you think it differs, as a module?
Yeah, I would say also that computer science has more theory than software engineering.
Sure.
Software engineering is more practical, more about programming and designing. Yeah, for me, that was the biggest difference that made me choose one or the other one.
Yeah, I feel like there's more math and like theoretical stuff going on in computer science versus like design, like you said. But I think if you don't have a strong preference, like for one or the other, I would say computer science, but maybe I'm biased. that was like my choice because my line of thinking was theory is never bad, right? Like design implementations can change and whatnot and what's topical, but like the theory, it's always going to be there, like no matter what. Yeah, but maybe Isabel has, you know, a different.
I don't really like theory.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also like engineers develop a lot of useful skills for like the industry. You know, I just had like the famous group project for the second year computer science students, and I can tell that you know, computer scientists are usually not the best at working in groups, right? So, it would be pretty interesting to see how a software engineer would handle the same task.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
You'd also have like you'd be doing like a lot of designing. You have to look at the framework. Okay, you're making a project. You have to draw diagrams, understand. For example, in a game, you have to look at the principles behind that, how you're supposed to design a game before you actually implement the game.
Mhm.
So you have to do a lot of planning before you start implementing.
Okay, great, great. Okay, people who are teaching you is key, right? We are completely honest here, right? As much as we can be. What do you think about our academics? We know they are very supportive, right? And I think the fact that you have a chance to interact with them like almost like one-on-one very often, and the different setup makes a huge difference, right? But we have a lot of questions, you know, from prospective students. So, you know, how are the professors? Are they like really, really tough? Are they like, are they approachable? You know, your feedback.
I mean, it really depends. But in general, for the 3 years that I've been here, most of them are really approachable. They will always help you. They don't have any problem on staying after class or just rescheduling a meeting for later. Yeah, I really like that. And then it's a little bit more difficult, but
Yeah, cannot be too easy. Right? But this is what I wanted to expand on a little bit. A lot of students are coming from, and we have so many nationalities on campus, so many countries. In certain countries, it's very, I would say, strict setup, right? Where there was a class and there was really not much connection between the professor and the student, right? Until they graduate. And we have a lot of questions around that as well. Because the system in Germany is also, because the classes are really big, it's more or less, right? However, here, because of the size, right, and we have professors from the UK, from all around the world, and the setup of LU Leipzig is a bit different, right? So does it make a difference to you as well? I'll give you an example, right? Some weeks ago, I was on the first floor and I saw one of the computer science students with one of our professors, right, on a Zoom meeting. It was definitely not a class. It was definitely not a class, but they had a conversation. Like I understood it was more like a follow-up session where he had just some questions, right?
Yeah.
So
For sure.
I think, I mean, having this, as you say, you know, having this small lecture rooms and whatever really does make a difference. I mean, from my personal experience, I've been able to get really close to some of my professors. I even, you know, approach them to their offices. You know, even you don't even have to go and whenever you have a question about their module, you can just talk about your personal stuff, whether you're applying somewhere and you want some advice, or if they have any, you know, institutions they recommend, whatever. So I think it's really useful to have these close connections with your lecturers.
And coming from like high school, you will not have a drastic change where you're like you have to approach teachers. Like usually it would be, oh, you have a class. If you don't have the next class, you can just go and be like, okay, you can have 5 minutes of your time. It's the same exact setup here.
that sounds cool. I didn't have that when I was at the university, so I'm pretty sure it's really, really beneficial. Okay, now a little bit more about your, well, Leipzig, right? You mentioned that it's an IT hub, and there's a lot of tech here, lots of startups are moving into Leipzig and the Leipzig region, and definitely there are a lot of jobs in the IT sector. How is Leipzig for you as a computing, IT, software, robotics passionate, enthusiast. Have you started already, making some connections? We'll talk about, jobs that some more students have and opportunities they've embarked on. Have you started using, the network, the fact that Leipzig is about IT and
I'm gonna start, from a bit afar, but I think, there's a stereotype that computer sciences are not very social people, and I think I think you overestimate how much we do network, but I think it is useful, like within the university, right? Because you have a lot of people who are, maybe visiting Germany just for studies, or maybe who are going to stay here and and disperse to a different city, and it's very important to maintain that network, and like to have those people that you still have connections with. And also, quickly off topic, I wanna say that Leipzig is an amazing city, and the transportation system here is absolutely great. And for someone who didn't have a lot of independency, like growing up, like in regards to where I moved, like Leipzig is very like open, and you can there's like a lot of places, especially for students, and it's a great city. Okay.
Nelly is definitely going on our episode about Leipzig as a student city. Great, great. Who else would like to comment on that?
I mean, I can say something quickly. If you guys are coming, I would strongly recommend you learn German if you plan on building your network here, because it's true you can comfortably live without knowing any German, just with English. But I mean, me personally, I can go to the supermarket and order some stuff in German, but that's all. Like, yeah, my German levels are really low, so I think that was kind of a limitation, right, for me. But I think if you do have the skills in their language, I mean, whenever you talk to Germans, they're going to be thrilled that you can interact with them in their mother tongue, right? So I think that's really important. Building on top of what Nelly said about the transportation system, if there are any Peruvians listening here, you're going to lose your mind whenever you come here, okay? Like, it's insane. You can live without a car comfortably. It's awesome.
I think the topic of traffic doesn't really exist, right? When you are like moving on, great. You mentioned the language, right? In my opinion, when students are coming, so you can come with all German skills, and then if you work really hard and then you study language on campus, we offer these free classes, you will develop, you guys, year 3, there is definitely a certain level you can learn, but you are talking about networking. But now talking about the language, because my impression is always that that this field is more about the IT language, and this is also visible when a lot of our students are applying for student jobs with really good companies, and the German skills are not always the highest level. And I want to hear to Mary and Nelly. Nelly, you recently, so congratulations as well, secured a fantastic job with one of the companies here in Leipzig, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic achievement, because Nelly is in her 3rd year, right? And it's not an internship, it's actually a student job. So if you could tell us a little bit more about this experience, how, with who, what are you doing, and also how are you combining this with your full-time studies?
For sure. Well, it's been my goal for the 3rd year to have some sort of like a position, so a job or a position that would relate to the IT field, because I have worked here in Germany previously, but it was not related to IT. So I was, looking frantically. I've been attending job fairs. I've been, doing this and that. And here, actually, university organized a job fair by Josephine. She organizes a massive job fair, and I managed to find Xetaso, which is a German company, spanning multiple cities. And I was able to secure a position of a work student. Yeah, so I went through 3 stages of an interview. Obviously, it was nerve-wracking, and I was really able to appreciate, the curriculum logic, behind Lancaster, because I was under the impression that, oh, I'm here to get a degree, right? So people will think that I'm qualified, but actually a lot of things that I couldn't even think to know about, like parallelism and whatnot, that were like obvious signs for an interviewer if I knew what I was talking about or not. So there were like very clear bullet points of like what they were looking for, and all of that I could like identify as topics, and that was, I don't know, that felt really good, because I was like, okay, we're not actually, learning theory in a sense of this was relevant at some point, but this is actually applicable. And, all of the stuff with programming, was also very applicable. I say this as someone who did an interview in a language we did not get taught at university. It was in C#, which is quite similar to another language, Java, that we were taught, but because it's so based in like principles and what you need to know, about the characteristics of these languages and not the specifics of it, I was able to like piggyback and, although, very nervous and very, palm sweaty, I was, able to, get through it. And yeah, now I'm finishing up my second month of working there.
Great.
Yeah.
We'll go back to how you're combining it with studies.
Right.
But I have actually, before that, I have a question. So you mentioned something really important, that what you learned during your program is actually very relevant what you would be probably needing, right, as a professional in the field. Do you guys feel the same? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Sometimes you go to, well, you can study something and then it's just like to get the paper and a degree, and then you have to find a job, and it's like, oh gosh, this is actually really difficult, like completely different world. Do you feel that it's a bit different, that you study and you are confident that what you are going to learn, you will use, and it will be a huge benefit for you when actually looking for a job?
So when you learn topics like, for example, she mentioned parallelism, there's also like concurrency or something. You might be like, oh, what is this? I don't understand it. But once you like think about it in the broader aspect, with the like many big parts of a project going around, you're like, oh, this is really relevant, and it's simply like it's very applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Like everything we are learning right now, I would say we would use it in a real life scenario for a job and a work environment. Yeah.
That's great. That I think that's a really, really crucial thing to understand, that this is relevant, right? It's relevant. Okay. One more thing. We have here two founders of Robotics Club, right? At LU Leipzig. And I wanted for you to tell a little bit more about this initiative, and also about the event that we were hosting last week.
Sure.
Where we were joined by students from Lancaster University campus in the UK, who came over from Berwick, right, to join this project. I had a chance to take some photos and videos during the event, so check our Instagram profile and Facebook for the update of that. But yeah, if you can tell us a little bit more, why, how,
All right.
and what do you guys do, right? And is it open to everybody? Yeah.
I don't know if you want to start about how we decided upon it. It was just that it was like first year, first sem, and they were asking, "Oh, what clubs would you like to see here?" And we were simply just discussing during some break. We're like, "Okay, we'd like to have a robotics club." He said, "Okay, I didn't have the practical aspect of it back home," and it's like, "Yeah, there was a club back home, but it was." For me, it's just like you had to have an idea, and you had to be like, okay, I'm confident. I've learned, like, for example, how to work with some specific kit, and I want to make that idea applicable and put it in some competition. And we're like, okay, let's put this down. And they simply said, oh, the university just said, okay, would you be willing to host the club yourselves? Like, we will help you with the funding and everything, but we'll have to find a way to cope up with the pressure of handling how the club runs.
And I mean, everything happened so fast. Honestly, I think once we were, first brainstorming about the club and stuff, we probably didn't think it would become a reality. But actually, we received so much support from our university that, now we have a working club, right? Which I'm really proud of. And we got guidance through the bureaucratic process of, applying for the funds and all that sort of stuff. And we also have, different lecturers that are somewhat experienced in this field, as points of information if we were have any questions or whatever. So that's pretty cool. Now, maybe if we talk about the event, yes, as Camila mentioned, we did host an event here in Leipzig where students from Belarus came. It was a very fun time. We got them to know about our city, to know about our university, right? And an interesting fact is that we're like the first campus, because Lancaster has other campuses around the world. They have one in China and Ghana as well, but we're the first ones to ever breach this gap in between international campuses. So that's really cool, right? And we're actually planning on now taking the robotics club members to the UK eventually, to continue our project. Maybe you can talk about what we worked on in the event.
Yeah, so it contained like different aspects. We had like 3D printing as well, where on the go they were like, oh, we need some parts or something printed. We'll design them and we'll start printing them. Then you also had some the machine learning aspect of it, where he was working, he was leading the team on how machine learning works because he had a bit of experience in like classifying objects, like what is glass, what is plastic, and you had to look for like data and be like, oh, this is cardboard, and the model understands, okay, this is cardboard, and is able to classify it as cardboard. And in between, we had different, like we had leaders from both groups coming in, and like, okay, they're explaining stuff, they're bringing us up to speed for every little update, and they're able to bridge the gap as well in that specific aspect.
Because one of the professors, Professor Fabio Facchini, right, who was also organized this event, he said that in just 3 days of intensive work, I'm going to read it, students managed to have a working prototype of a robot arm for automated waste recognition and disposal. So the robot I saw actually on the last day was the one like produced and all parts were printed as well on the.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's really impressive. That's very impressive. Isabel, software engineering. What was your part in that project? Because I remember you working a lot, like with other students, something on the computer, like with programs.
I tried helping with the machine learning, which I never worked with, so Matthias was showing me and teaching me basically, and then I helped with the camera, so the camera would be able to know when you put an object, so it would recognize if you put something. Yeah, I was helping with that. I didn't do anything with the robotic part, so the physical, but it was more for the programming.
Great. Well, so it's really great to hear as well about the initiative to go to the UK, right, campus. To repeat that and do something more. So, what's the vision for the club? Because I understand it was just set up quite recently, right? And what is the ambition, right? For
That's a good question. I mean, of course, we are graduating in a year, right? So we would love if our other members, maybe first years or foundation students, continue this club going on forward from there. But I think we would really like to get into maybe local competitions here in Germany at some point, right? To share our skills with other institutions and maybe represent our university and get some decent results at some of them. But I think at the end of the day, we created this club just because sometimes in computer science you don't really look at the hardware side of things, right? So it's cool if you're interested in how things work in a lower level to have that as a complementary subject. But yeah, mostly, I mean, even if you're, of course, I think most of us don't have any experience with robotics. We're not in like mechanical engineers or anything. So we're here to learn, right? And even if our projects don't work the first time, we're still learning from our mistakes. And yeah, then we then know what to do for our next project, and we can use this peer learning as well to build up our own skills.
That's great. That's really exciting. So, fingers crossed, and wishing all the best with the club. Well, as I said, it looked really, really interesting. So make sure you check out, the videos that we posted on the, especially the final when the robot was actually picking up that something and then dropping it to the correct container, because everybody was clapping, so I'm just really successful. Great, thank you so much. Nelly, I wanted to go back quickly to you. You are now, working.
Yeah.
Final year. Ooh, yeah, so quite a crucial time. Is it possible to combine work? Because we work part time, right? 20
Yeah.
hours per week is the maximum you can work
Right.
during your studies, and 40 weeks during holidays. But is it manageable? Can you do it? Because a lot of students ask me, can I work when I study? Is it something that will really impact my studies as well, or it's
Right. I think it is possible. I mean, I managed so far. I also have a contract for 16 hours a week. So, it takes, those 4 hours, you think it's not important. It really is. I think it really, allows me to have the time for myself, like free of everything. I mean, ultimately, it's like 3 hours of work per day, or you can shift one full day, onto work and then work a little bits here and there, and thankfully, as I'm in like a research, like research team, I can do it like anywhere. And not to mention, my company allows hybrid work. The office is really, really great. But also I sometimes enjoy, staying at home and just doing my work there without any distractions. I mean, yeah, it is definitely manageable. And for the, I'm studying for exams now, and I'm still working, but I think there's one really intense week, second to last week, we have like 2 exams and one is coming up that's hard. I'm allowed to take vacation days. So I think yeah, I can use them sparingly. I have since I have a contract for 6 months, I have only 15 days, but I think that week I'm just gonna, not worry about it. So when it gets really intense, you can just take vacation days. It's no problem.
That sounds great. And then you mentioned about, hybrid, the fact that, there's no traffic in Leipzig, and it's so easy to commute, probably doesn't add up as well on the hours you have to, in some cities.
For sure.
Where traffic is quite heavy, when you spend hours in a car to get to a place. I know what you're referring to. About Lima in Peru. Great. Okay. That was really interesting. Really, really interesting conversation. Final word. You have, students thinking about either software or computer science, or should I do it in Leipzig? Should I do it in Lancaster? Your final words to students, to motivate them to make a decision to also follow the dreams, right, and be confident in what they want to do. Like you, Isabel.
Well, I don't know. I think this campus, both majors are really good. I really like being in Leipzig. It's a big city. It has a lot to do. And the university is also great. It's growing a lot now. And yeah, it's just, I can't complain about it.
Thank you, Patrick.
So during the event, we got to know our counterparts and understand, okay, what's the different ways they're studying, how are we studying, and we understood, okay, there are quite some huge differences. And the best part is when you come here, you're discovering, this university is still discovering itself. It's in, like, we had our first batch of graduates last year, And if you want to get something, like if you want to have something opened or something, like you have to take the initiative. It's just you're discovering, oh, this is something I want to do. Okay, you try doing it yourself, and the university will help you to do it.
Great. That's
Yeah,
great.
and I mean, building on top of what Preeti said, I mean, if we went to the UK campus, we probably wouldn't have founded the robotics club, right? Because there's probably some society over there that's already been established, and you just join and participate on it, which is also a valid option, right? But I think it's really interesting to have the opportunity to actually take things upon yourself, because as Preeti says, there's not much that has been explored yet in this university, so it's pretty much like an empty canvas, and you can just join and do whatever your heart tells you to, and during the process you learn a lot, right? You gain some leadership skills, you learn about bureaucracy in general, but most importantly, you can collaborate with your fellow classmates to work as a team and make your dreams become a reality, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
and to say one last thing, is that a lot of students, I think me included, I was really stressing when choosing my major because it was such a big pivotal point in my life, and I was like, I can't get it wrong. But I think take it lightly. I think it's not forever. Take whatever it feels good to you. It doesn't need to be perfect. And definitely if a couple of things align like it did with Lancaster, I think I at the time thought this is good, and I didn't regret it, so
Great. Well, on that positive note, we are going to end our episode. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience. It was great. I really also learned by the way, being not really strong in computing and IT. Thank you so much to our viewers as well. We encourage you to try our website, go to speak to our student ambassadors. So Nelly, for example, Isabel are also on the platform on tap. Where we can chat more, ask some questions. Feel free to reach out to our admissions team when you have inquiries about application process, and we hope to see some of you on campus this October. So,
This one question.
and there was a question. Yes, please.
Does the university focus on teaching algorithms? So I have seen that there is a module in algorithm in second year. Could you say something quickly about that? Is it like much focus on it, or?
Yeah, actually, I think you start seeing them on first year on your fundamentals of computer science module. You're definitely gonna explore a bunch of different types of algorithms. You're gonna learn about time complexities, pros and cons of using different approaches for specific problems, and
yeah. I mean, there's a full module on it. Yeah, for sure. Like if a module focuses on on one specific topic, you really go deep, and like Matthias said, it's well explored.
Okay, so yes, we do teach algorithms. Ending of this session, that's what I say. This is really good to ask our student ambassadors on the platform. And we have really big number of ambassadors there inside computer science, software engineering majors, so you can ask all these questions as well. With that, once again, thank you so much, and see you in the next episode.